Okay, sir. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, please mute your mic. Presentation on the paper, Contemporary Western Theories and Film Studies. And from that, I am going to present about theory of deconstruction with examples. Is my screen visible? Okay. So, first of all, let's see about the historical development of the theory of deconstruction. So, it can be said that Rene Descartes and Friedrich Nietzsche were the pioneers of the theory of deconstruction. And deconstruction is arose as the response to the structuralism or response to the formalism. And structuralism believes that all elements of human cultures and including literature may be understood as the part of system in science. But Derrida deconstruct this idea and he didn't believe in it. And from that, the theory of deconstruction was emerged. They began to question the objective truth of language, and this is also known as post-structuralism. Jacques Derrida, the pioneer of the deconstruction theory. Jacques Derrida was a French theorist, philosopher, and writer, and deconstruction also derived from his work, began in 1960s. And his areas of study include so many. His areas of study is so vast. It includes philosophy. It also includes literary criticism and literary theories. And in 1967, he introduced the theory of deconstruction. So it can be said that the theory of deconstruction was founded by Jacques Derrida. Origin of deconstruction. The seeds of deconstruction sprouted from the Martin Heidegger, but Derrida's main influence for the development of this theory from the theorist Martin Heidegger and Heidegger's work, Beings and Times. In this work, Heidegger talks about deconstructing of previous ontology concepts such as time, history, matter, etc., in order to better understand this term. And Derrida's theory is also quite similar to the Heidegger's theory. We can connect the dots and connect the links between both the thinkers, Heidegger and Derrida. Derrida's theory is similar to Heidegger's in that he too wanted to rethink so many of the terms commonly used in philosophical considerations, but Derrida took further step in creating workable theories. Then Derrida's influences. Derrida influenced by so many thinkers like Sigmund Freud, Friedrich Nietzsche, Edmund Husserl, Claude Louis-Strauss. But thinkers are Derrida has mentioned three thinkers in his works: Structure, Sign, and Play, and those are Martin Heidegger, Sigmund Freud, and Friedrich Nietzsche. Then what is deconstruction? So it can be said that deconstruction is an approach to understand the relationship between text and its meaning. And Derrida himself says that deconstruction is very difficult to define. We cannot define deconstruction because if we define the term word deconstruction, it will take to the another word. And according to Derrida, the language of the word are the set of another word. So we cannot find ultimate meaning of the word deconstruction. So it is very difficult to define. And once Derrida said that it is necessary confusion since it is criticizing the very language needed to explain it. In one of the article, T.S. Johnson says about deconstruction, and it will be helpful to us to understand. Deconstruction seems to center around the idea that language and meaning are often inadequate in trying to convey the message or idea a communicator is trying to express. Since the confusion stems from the language and not the object, then one should break down or deconstruct the language to see it if we better understand where the confusion stems. So we can say that we can agree with the T.S. Johnson that deconstruction is very difficult to define. And
It seems that camera is disconnected.
Let me set this camera. Lenovo FSD webcam. Okay. Yes. Okay, camera was disconnected. Now it is okay. Okay. So this is the article by T.S. Johnson, and is the definition about deconstruction. Then to understand deconstruction, we have to understand three steps. First is gain a working knowledge of the historical and philosophical roots of structuralism. After understanding that, after examining structuralism, we must investigate the proposed radical change Derrida makes in Western philosophy. And finally, we must master the new terms, coupled with the new philosophical assumptions. Then Ferdinand Saussure. Ferdinand Saussure, widely recognized as the founder of modern linguistic theories, and he himself looked at the language diachronically. He traced words over the looking for the changes in sounds and meaning. And according to Ferdinand Saussure, he believes that language has three types of meaning: arbitrary. First is arbitrary, then rational and constructive. So these three types of meaning given by Ferdinand Saussure, and according to in the Ibrahim Abshif's article, A Critical Review of Ferdinand de Saussure's Linguistic Theory, he mentioned that according to de Saussure, linguistics is differentiate from science, such science as geology, psychology, and anthropology, because these sciences can be helpful to everything that is outside the system of language. For de Saussure, linguistic is only a parrot science, semiology that is engaged in the study of life of science within society. Rules of language. So according to Ferdinand Saussure, there are three parts of rules of language: langue, parole, and signs. So if we look at the langue is made of a set of rules. You can see in the picture, you can get the more clear idea about langue. So langue is the system of rules that makes it possible for a person to know how to speak. Then parole is the way a particular person is speaking. And then sign, Ferdinand give three aspects of sign: signifier, and signified. And he depicted language as a set of signs, and that come in two parts of signifier and signified. So what is sign? Sign is anything that we convey as the meaning. And signifier is the things that gives the meaning or word to us. And signified, that is invoked in our mind or our mental process, thinking process. Derrida's interpretation of Saussure's sign. So Derrida affirmed concept of language system based on differences. Derrida asserts that the signified can also be known through the relationship between signifier and signified. I would like to give one example of the sentence that I filled the glass of milk. So in this sentence, glass is sign. Here glass is signifier of the signified concept of container to hold the milk. So glass become the signifier and container become the signified. And the another example is the if we change the structure of this sentence, the container was filled with glass. So here container was signified in previous sentence, it becomes signifier. It signified the concept of an object that can be filled. So notice the changing use of the word glass. If we change the using of the words, we can get the different meaning. What Derrida said, that the ultimate meaning is myth. We cannot find the proper meaning of any words. Then logocentrism. According to Derrida, logocentrism is the view of speech privilege over the writing. And Derrida contains the opposition between speech and writing is a manifestation of logocentrism of Western culture. And according to him, logocentrism is a phenomena that encourage us to treat linguistic science as distinct from the inessential to phenomena they represent rather than inextricably bound up with them. And the logocentrism concept of truth and reality as existing in outside language derives in the form of deep-seated prejudice in Western philosophy, which Derrida characterized as the metaphysics of presence. One of his interview, Derrida in an interview with Richard Kerne expressed deconstruction. Deconstruction is always deeply concerned with the other of language, the term other. I never cease to be surprised by critics who see my work as a declaration that there is nothing beyond language, that we are imprisoned in language. It is in fact saying the exact opposite. The critique of logocentrism is above all else the search for the other and the other of language. So we can easily go with Derrida that there is nothing, Derrida said that there is nothing outside the text and there is nothing beyond the language. The whole meaning. Yes. Sorry. So in his interview, he said about the deconstruction and the logocentrism and importance of meaning of language. Binary oppositions. So the term the binary opposition is one of the major element of deconstruction theory, and the term the most important part of deconstruction. Binary opposition means opposing two concepts. Deconstruction uses binary oppositions to look at what is not in a story or the another meaning of the word. Of the two parts of binary opposition, there is a dominant and an oppressed or non-dominant. For Saussure, the binary opposition was the means by which the units of language have value or meaning. Each unit is defined against what it is not. And with these categories, terms and concepts tend to be associated with the positive or negative. For example, binary oppositions like reason, passion, man, woman, inside, outside, presence, absence, speech, overwriting. So in this, Derrida argues that the oppositions were arbitrary and inherently unstable. The structure themselves begin to overlap the flesh, and ultimately the structure of the text dissimulate themselves from within the text. And in this sense, deconstruction is regarded as the forum of anti-structuralism, and deconstruction reject most of the assumptions of structuralism and binary opposition. One, the ground that such opposition always privilege one term over the other. What is we said that privilege of signifiers. Yes. Sorry again. So here I would like to give one example of tree for aliens. If we think of the tree, so tree is a very normal elements for us, and we can easily identify the tree. But think of defining the word tree to the aliens who have very little knowledge about the earth. So the words branches, leaves, and trunks and roots mean nothing to them. So it would be easier to describe something by saying what is it is not. Constructive reading of the poem Snow. Here I have taken one poem by Frederick Seidel, Snow. The poem is like snow is what it does. It falls and it stays and it goes. It melts and it here. It is somewhere. We all will get there. So here if we take the word snow, we can find that snow is the symbolism of white. It is also symbolism of cold and winter. So it is usually symbolizing the death. Winter and snow, these all are the symbol of the death. So this poem is, could be talking about the rebirth of human in the religion. And according to Berry, there are several things that the post-structuralism theorist seeks, which are paradoxes, shifts and break in the poem in tones and viewpoints and tense, time, person, and attitude, conflict, absences, linguistic words, and aporia. Berry also simplified those things into three stages: deconstruction process, which are verbal stage, textual stage, and lastly, linguistic stage. So this I have taken this idea from the essay, and this essay will deconstruct a poem by Frederick Seidel Snow using post-structuralist principles. And the three stages are verbal stage, textual stage, and linguistic stage. So in the first stage, verbal stage, Berry claims that verbal stage is similar to other conventional close reading. We can find paradox in the second line. It falls and it stays and it goes. So in this line, if snow stays, then it stays. Then what about it goes? So here we can find the paradox in this line. And then the other is textual stage. The critics focus more on the seeing the poem as the whole, despite of only looking for some contained phrase. Snow is only used once in the first line. The snow is never seen again in the whole poem. So the poet did not repeat the word snow, and the snow become it and then transfer into we. We can find in second, third, and fourth line that first of all, snow is only snow, then it become in it, and then it become we. So those changes refer to the shift of a person. As the snow shift into we, it becomes clear that snow is actually the metaphor for we. And third is a linguistic stage. In the third and fourth line, it melts and it is here somewhere. We all will get there. So here, a poet has not mentioned any particular place. So what is the meaning of somewhere, here, and there? So last two lines are ambiguous and evoke some questions to us. These are my references from where I have taken.
Okay, you can, yeah, stop.